Welcome. Thank you for joining us as we explore the consultation and/or problem-solving referral, or more commonly referred to as the Consultation Protocol. This district form moves the team from Phase 1 to Phase 2 in the district-level change of placement guidance. This form is to be completed by the building team, requesting the building assigned ed specialist to join the team. Once completed, the school psychologist will send it to a designated district staff member. Let's begin on how the building team completes this form. The top portion of this form is just basic information taken from the IEP and/or evaluation, such as the name, date of birth, ID, grade, case manager, eligibility category, and the most recent dates and areas of eligibility. The second part is we want to know more about the student's strengths. So in the 3 columns for social, adaptive, and behavior, academic, and other, we really want to focus on what the students can do and where their strengths lie. The next statement, the precision problem statement, is where we want to dig into where the student is struggling. So the precision statement should be a specific skill set that is keeping him or her from progressing with their peers. There can be more than one precision statement. There can be one for reading, math, writing, and/or behavior, or social or adaptive. But the problem statement should be specific enough to tell us where the student is struggling and why they're struggling. Is it because, in the example, basic letter and blending sounds, they're struggling with that? Is it some of their executive functioning skills or short-term memory? So it's important as a team that not only you look at their IEP goals, but also their reevaluations or initial evaluations in some cases to find out where some of those deficits are. And the next section has to do with the interventions tried and IEP goals. So in the special education procedural manual, there is a form that outlines the district-approved curriculum materials that special education provides to all classrooms. Whereas we want you to list all interventions you're doing, but we also want to know what district interventions you have tried. So for example, have you done decoding power? Have you done LLI? Have you done math expressions, the RTI stuff? So what are some of the interventions you have tried? But beyond that, we want to know when you started that program, where the student began, and where they currently are. We also want to know how often you're doing that program and who or where is it being provided. Is it being provided through you, the resource room teacher, or is it being provided by your para? Is it being done 4 days a week or just 1 day a week? So be very specific in this part, because when this comes to the designated staff member, we need to know what the team has done, because we don't want to come to the table with suggestions that you've already tried. We want to bring you new tools, new training, new strategies. The next part has to do with behavior. Not every student is going to have this. So it's okay if you have a student that if there's not a behavior concern, it is okay to leave this blank. But if there is a behavior concern, we need to know this information. Has an FBA been done? And if it has, what is that hypothesis? And when was the date of the most current FBA? The next part is the frequency and the duration of the behavior. How often is that behavior happening? And when it occurs, how long does it tend to last? So if you have a student who has an escape tendency, how long does it take for him to come back? How long does that escape last? The next is in regard to the intensity of those behaviors. So there's 2 sections here. We want to know the likelihood. So how likely is this behavior to happen? Is it likely to happen on a low, meaning probably doesn't happen very often, or medium? It happens sometimes, at least a couple times a week, or is it high? Is it several times a day? And beyond the likelihood, what is the severity of the behaviors? Is the behaviors putting themselves at risk or putting others at risk? Is it a low, medium, or high severity? And then the next part is the reinforcers. What does the student like? What will the student work for? And then also, what doesn't the student like? Because we don't want to make suggestions if we know that the student doesn't like certain things. The next part has to do with how often the team has met to discuss some of these concerns. So the team problem-solving meeting dates, those are your staffing. So you as a team, as a building team, have gotten together to discuss the student in one way or another to problem solve on how to make him more successful at your school. The second column is the parent contact dates. How often or what days have you contacted parents to discuss your concerns? The next part has to do with who else could be a part of this team to help solve some of these problems and what you're expecting from this consultation protocol. So some people who might be beneficial to be part of this team, and a reason for filling out this consultation protocol is your building assigned ed specialists. But it also could be maybe you need some more help beyond the building ed specialist. Maybe you need the help of the behavior specialist or our autism specialist, or maybe we need a representative from another team, a self-contained team or a life skills team. This is where you would list people that may be able to help you problem solve. And the last box is the expected outcome. What is the purpose of this protocol that you're completing? Is it to gain more tools? Is it to gain more strategies to help the student be successful, or other interventions that you're not sure about? Or is it some training? Do you need some training on an intervention that you've never attempted? But this should be the outcome of the protocol. It shouldn't be the outcome of what you're hoping to go through the entire guidance, but what is the intent of this protocol of you submitting it? And the last part is the team's signatures. It's very important that this document is filled out by the team and not just by one person. We need to know who is involved in completing this and who's involved in the student's progress at your school. So it's very important that when this is submitted that you have this. And please feel free to add any additional documentation or examples that you want to add to this. It would be really beneficial if you could include progress monitoring from the IEP as well, so we know how the student is progressing through their individualized education program. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to contact us anytime. Thank you.